Hello my friends and welcome. This is the latest update on Ukraine. Let's go from the frontlines update to Novoprokopivka because there is the movement of Ukrainian army in the last 24 hours. It seems like Ukrainian army is fighting in Novoprokopivka itself, in the outskirts of the village. Let's go for the timeline. It was yesterday and it is today. Ukraine just recently took this ground under control and already moved forward towards the Russian main positions inside the village. But again, it is war. We have also not so good news. Our guys were ambushed by the Russian army in Novoprokopivka. The small group of our soldiers went to the village to understand the capability of the Russian army, and definitely it was the trap. The deep state military map showed it on their resources, and there is the video that Russians filmed on the drone, unfortunately. But it also says that Ukrainian army moved forward to Novoprokopivka. And actually the fights are already happening in that village. The fight for Novoprokopivka will be harder compared to Robotyne because Russia concentrated more forces out there, but still it's not unbreakable village for Ukrainian army. Basically we are speaking about the final frontiers, about those three of the villages on the way to Tokmak. The Tokmak is over here, and I would say that the task to reach Tokmak is more or less real after Ukraine penetrates this Surovikin line over here. Our guys did it close to Verbove, so I also expect that the fights for this village intensify. So in general, if we check the advancement of Ukrainian army in Robotyne area and Verbove for the last week, we may see that Ukraine gained more than 30 square kilometers of the land which is packed by the Russian defense lines. It's very hard to move forward, but Ukrainian army somehow does it. The greatest achievement was over here, where Ukraine penetrated the Russian defense lines and went into Verbove direction. Let's go to Krasnogorivka, the Donetsk direction. It was confirmed by the deep state military map resource that this ground was taken by Russians. It happened not today, but during the recent period. Before, there were videos published that Ukraine controls this area, and today there was the video showing how Ukraine targets the Russian positions in this place. It means that it's still controlled by the Russian army. Okay, I have to say about more bad news that happened today. Russia attacked the Ukrainian convoy train that was used to supply the weaponry and armored vehicles to the front lines. I'm out of the information what exactly was on that rail. I published it on my Telegram channel. Some of the guys say that it's not the railway. No, my friends, it's the railway. You can see it over here. There's the railway, but here is the dead end. This line is used as the temporary stop for the train. So after it goes a little bit rear and then takes the other line, the other railroad, to go forward. And I can see the locomotive on the front, so it's the train for sure, with lots of the weaponry. The question is why the train was staying there and not moving, because it was within the range of the Russian gliding aviation bombs that they dropped from their airplanes. That is what they exactly did with this particular convoy. The full video you may check out on my Telegram channel. They used a single aviation bomb, but it was really powerful, at least 500 kilogram bomb. Even though it targeted the front part of the train, but here you also may see some sort of the smoke, because there are some shrapnel, some of the debris that hit all over the train. The personnel start to run from the train, so probably just the aft part of the train was intact. That is how powerful the aviation bombs are. So for sure it was the unexpected attack by the Ukrainian side, and I guess that Russia also has their intelligence in Ukraine. Probably they knew about this particular convoy, the exact place and time for it to stop. The main question is where's the air defense and why the supply routes are so close to the front lines, because usually the Russian airplanes do not fly deeply into Ukrainian territory because they are afraid to be hit by the Ukrainian air defense. That's why they also use the gliding bombs like JDAMs. Yes, similar to those, but they have the very powerful versions, as you can see. It was really a big one. The other question is what was there on this convoy? Probably we'll never know it. because the information will be classified by the Ukrainian side. And if I just zoom in with this resolution from this altitude, it's really hard to see at least something. But as you can see, the Russian surveillance drones may also fly behind the front lines deeply. Unfortunately, it's the war and stuff like that might happen. My duty is to tell also about the bad news, because people need to understand the full picture about what is happening exactly on the front lines. The wins, the losses, all of that is current war. Alright, to the other news. The Kursk military airfield in Russian Federation was attacked today by the drones. Russia reports about the losses in that particular airfield. Also, the local oil storage was attacked and there was the huge fire. Yet we are out of the specific data that might confirm the losses in the Russian aviation or other stuff. But the satellite images obviously will appear tomorrow or the day after tomorrow to confirm that attack. By the way, today is the day of this city of Kursk, and the mayor cancelled the celebration with fireworks because it's nonsense to do it at the same time that the airfield and other military facilities are being attacked by the drones. Kursk is really close to the Ukrainian border, so this is the Sumy city of Ukraine, this is our border, and this is the military airfield over there. I would say quite close. This is the image of the entry to the Sevastopol Bay. As you can see, Russia installed lots of the defense lines to prevent the Ukrainian drone boats going into the Sevastopol harbor. There are also underwater chains and the on-water barricades. You can see they might be open or closed for their ships. Plus the big floating devices, it's like the other part that they use for the protection of their harbor. But Ukraine doesn't use the drone boats any longer to target the Sevastopol harbor. This time we use the cruise missiles like Storm Shadow or Scalp. In the future, probably there will be ATACMS missiles and also Taurus. Germany anyways will transfer the Taurus cruise missiles to Ukrainian army. It might not happen just right now, the next week. The biggest issue right now for Chancellor Scholz to make this final decision is the range of the Taurus cruise missile. It's around 500 kilometers and potentially it's the longest range of any kind of the weaponry that Ukraine may potentially get from the Allies, even longer than ATACMS. So Russia may say, Germany, you are transferring the very long-range missiles. So Chancellor Scholz still afraid of the Russian reaction from what I see. By the way, today there were new kabooms reported in Sevastopol. Ukraine targets that city every day, but none of the civilian infrastructure was hit, just military objects. Here again we see the difference between Russia and Ukraine. And just now, while I'm recording this video, Russia launched the massive attack using their Shahed drones and Caliber cruise missiles to target the Ukrainian infrastructure. Just yesterday they moved the ships from the Sevastopol Bay, so those ships apparently are the carriers of the Caliber cruise missiles that they use to target Ukraine. Now, according to the latest update, there are air sirens in all of the Ukrainian territory. There were explosions reported in Odessa Oblast and also in Dnepropetrovsk Oblast. The last week, Ukraine intensified the attacks on the Russian ammunition command centers, especially in Crimea. It never happened like that during the summertime, so it is the new step for Ukraine to use the long-range missiles and other weaponry. Based on the regions where Ukraine targets the Russian infrastructure the most, we may expect that Ukraine may advance from this side, as our army does already in Robotyne, but also in Kherson. The Russian bases in Crimea is the separate story. Ukraine is unable to advance to Crimea right now. However, there might be some of the landing operations that have already been conducted by the Ukrainian special services. The Russian war criminal Strelkov was beaten up in the prison. At least we have this information from the Russian media resources. They also shared his picture after he was beaten up. I shared it on my Telegram channel. I will not upload it on this platform. Yet we don't have the confirmation from the Russian official resources. but it looks like that Strelkov really was beaten up, judging on the picture. I do not support it actually, because I think that he should survive till the main court, the international one, will prosecute this war criminal. I think that the better place for the international court is Saudi Arabia with their jurisdiction system. In that case, Girkin would not have the opportunity for the life term in prison. He would have something else. Germany will transfer the 50 of the drone boats to Ukrainian army very soon, so Ukraine made the special drone boats as well as Germany did. I wonder about the characteristics of the German-made boats, because more or less I understand the Ukrainian-made. The low-quality video, those are the Armenian forces leaving Karabakh. So we may say that the war in that area is over. The leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan will meet in Spain on 5th of October to negotiate the situation between two of the countries. The Mali Tuareg tribes proclaimed the war against the Wagner army, which is quite active in that African country. It is the first case or the photo confirmation that Russia lost the MT-LB armored vehicle with A-22 flamethrower Vohon. On Russian it is called Ogon. You may see them mounted on the armored vehicles, but originally those are used in Navy, like over here. My friends, now press the like to this video, and also if you want to support my channel, there are some of the links available in the video description just below. Special thanks for my Patreon supporters and the sponsors of my YouTube channel. Guys, you are awesome. Thank you so much for your kind support. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.